from CNN, exclusive. CNN follows Mexican agents hunting for cartel-backed smugglers.
You can see behind me here, there's a huge gap in the wall. And this is where Mexican officials tell us that a lot of the smugglers are either directing or bringing.
Wait, so they are coming through where there's a hole in the wall, which is to say that the wall works. And this, of course, this is obviously CNN. There was a point in time when they were of the opinion, they were trying to tell people that it's not really a problem. Cartels, drug smuggling, not that big of a deal. Leave the border open. And now they are reporting on this from the Mexican side of the border, which leads me to believe it is far worse than they will tell us.
Some of the migrants, too, so that they can easily cross.
Which makes these rugged back roads the preferred and profitable routes for cartel-backed migrant smugglers. We're about an hour east of Tijuana, driving with Mexican migration officials along the U.S.-Mexico border.
And, I mean, we all know it. I've said it 100 million times. But there's no way. Well, I guess they are. They have. I can't pretend that they're not. But every single time, and this happens with all of the media outlets, there's apparently no difference between a legal migrant and a drug smuggling illegal criminal.
But we detour after learning a group of migrants has been rescued, as officials here say.
¿De dónde son?
Brazil.
De Brazil.
We pull up and find about a dozen folks who describe to me their attempts to claim asylum in the U.S.
Migrants? Oh, okay. Illegal border hoppers were rescued? That's what they're going with here?
He said he tried to cross, but Mexican officials stopped him from.
Oh yeah, and we have to blur his face to make sure that nobody sees what. This is ridiculous.
Being able to go.
That's because Mexico is now stepping up its efforts to stop migrants from crossing illegally into the U.S.
We don't know if it was
Following requests from the Biden administration, Mexico is now pouring resources, like the National Guard and Mexican Army, in to help patrol and detain migrants like these.
Oh yeah, but Biden, under the direction of President Biden, Mexico stopping it. So he created this problem with the help of everybody in the administration, made it worse on purpose, then blamed Republicans for not signing some weirdo Ukrainian-Israeli funding bill, and is now pretending that he's going to clean up the problem with the help of Mexico?
Eventually transporting them to southern Mexico,
where we separate them by nationalities, and then from them we determine the deportation process.
What's happening here goes beyond stepped-up patrols. In recent months, Mexican officials have built base camps, deploying troops to some of the most popular illegal crossing sites.
A smuggler's van?
It's too late. They're all here. And look, we've seen it time after time after time. Whatever, the hotels, they're throwing away food, they're complaining, they're entitled. They're already here and telling you that they still didn't get enough, right? I mean, we've seen the clips floating around of the illegal migrants saying, oh, well, we're just offended.
Use us verbally, she says, and take our belongings without our permission. If we complain, they call the cops. The reality is we feel offended.
And can't be bothered to learn English. I mean, if you're going to say you're offended, at least say it in English. But nope, they get a translator to tell you how bad America is for them. Well, then just stay, right? Oh, you want the empanadas? You want the food of your homeland? Well, just stay there.
Are there several of these vehicles just left abandoned and
like 7 vehicles in total
in this area?
in the area?
As we pull up, we realize we've been here before.
We've seen so many people cross through this property. This right here.
At this spot late last year, we met U.S. residents fed up with migrants coming through their land.
They can come through the front door.
Our cameras captured hundreds each day and night.
That has stopped in recent weeks, and it stopped primarily because of what we're seeing on the Mexico side of things. This is a remote base on the border. You've got Mexico.
Yeah, so after millions of people illegally cross the border, now we're going to put a stop to it. Okay.
Immigration officials, you've got National Guard, and you've got Mexican Army who are here 24/7.
We have our fridge, microwave, coffee, everything.
You have moved resources to live 24/7 on the border. Why is it so important for Mexico to be doing that?
We want to prevent migrants to get in touch with the criminal groups.
The number of migrant encounters reported by U.S. Border Patrol appears to reflect the impact of Mexico's actions.
Oh, okay, so President Biden did a little bit, but now here they're sort of, praising Mexico as, right? So the president of Mexico says, well, a lot of people go into the drug trade because the government can't provide. He's totally backing the cartels. He's arguably part of the scheme. I mean, they're all part of the scheme, quite obviously, but now they want us to know that it's nothing Bo Biden did. It's nothing the Republicans did, but actually, Mexico's been pretty solid on slowing the flow of migrants,
dropping 42% from December to January alone and seeming to stay low. But officials warn cartels and their smugglers frequently adjust their tactics and keep close watch.
They're watching us right now.
They see when we are patrolling and when we leave a spot.
It's a crisis that has also sparked uneasiness for Mexican residents.
Wait, no, it's not a crisis, right? For months, years even. It's only recently that they've even admitted this is a problem. So go back to 2021, 2022, it wasn't even a crisis. Bo Biden, I don't believe, well, he went to like some closed off safe section of the border. Kamala Harris, the border czar, hasn't done any of it except for cackle.
Okay, so this time.
It's gotten so frustrating for these folks in particular that the community got together, wrote a letter to their governor petitioning for more resources. And it's for that reason that you have, well, you can see right here, members of the Mexican National Guard who are now patrolling neighborhoods like this one to keep migrants from coming through.
Authorities here urge migrants to use the U.S.'s CBP-1 app rather than to risk crossing with smugglers.
Yeah, okay, the migrants should use an app given to them, provided to them by the American government. Wow, this is nuts.
Mexican officials.
And you notice that even when CNN is trying to report this, they're still sugarcoating. They're putting lipstick on a pig left and right. This is completely disgusting, completely deplorable. Go to, obviously, New York, San Francisco. There was just a story of a 20-something Venezuelan man who was working at a barbershop, and he was gunned down in broad daylight. I'm sure he was not involved in anything outside of just cutting hair.
At this location even help pre-screen up to 500 migrants daily for the U.S. asylum interview process.
So he's in communication with U.S. officials, por otro lado, on the other side, and they're sending documents back and forth to make sure that they have the right information.
While this is a more orderly...
Okay. And we know this now, but first, we were supposed to be scared of Rona, couldn't even leave the house. Then we opened the border up completely, even though we were still scared of the virus. And now these people are coming in, and we're supposed to give them everything. They got free. They didn't want to go to the tent cities in Randall's Island or whatever, some place in New York.
We are following breaking news out of Hell's Kitchen right now, where a group of migrants is refusing to leave a hotel on West 57th Street. The Watson Hotel is a men's-only shelter, and in a plan announced by Mayor Eric Adams last week, they are supposed to relocate to the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal, but many are refusing to go.
They didn't want to do it, so it's quite literally, you can call it an invasion, but this is a hostile takeover, and CNN is sugarcoating the entire thing.
Way to claim asylum, it can take a while to get an appointment. Marta Achila says she's waited 5 months for this day.
So what? Go back to where, it's racist though, right? So they're telling Americans that America is racist, but the rest of the world still wants to come and will quite literally crawl over barbed wire to get into a racist country and then throw away the food that they've been given and demand that they be put up in a midtown hotel. There's just so obviously the hypocrisy is the point, and it's a long list. But you were scared of the virus, but you let these people in. You're also a racist, but everybody wants to come here. How is this happening? It's not even remotely realistic.
So I asked why they didn't go through the smuggling route, which so many choose to do. Vamos a caminar con ustedes. And she said that, for one, it costs an extreme amount of money, and the other aspect...
And And when we're talking, he's going to translate for her because she can't be bothered to do it. But we're constantly told, oh, they're just seeking asylum. But we don't see the stories. Where are all the stories of political persecution? And I mean, you guys are literally handing yourselves over to the cartel. Some of them, not all. But where are the horror stories of the things you're fleeing? We're not seeing any of that.
Aspect of it for her was they wanted to be able to enter legally through the appointment, try to build a better future there.
The road ahead is uncertain for both the migrants.
Hold on. Who are all these guys? Those are not Mexicans. Those are not, they're not from Central South America. Where are these guys coming from? Insanity.
The road ahead is uncertain for both the migrants and for those protecting the border. We see that firsthand as we leave the remote border camps.
The reason we've stopped and pulled over is because there are these spikes that we've noticed all along the different dirt roadways that take us to the border wall.
Evidence of a smuggler's desperate attempt to salvage their profits.
There are dozens, if not hundreds of these.
And while it slows them down momentarily, for now they forge ahead in their efforts to curb the flow of a migrant crisis that's consuming resources on both sides of the border.
Yeah, but there was no migrant crisis. It's crazy how they just do a complete 180 and then want to pretend that they never said, oh, that's not a crisis, you're a racist.
David, great reporting. As we saw in the story, Mexican officials are expanding efforts to stem the flow of migrants into the U.S. We're seeing some effect in the numbers there, as you noted. How could U.S. politics derail those efforts, though?
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I'm gonna let you finish. But there's a very simple solution to this, right? We already have laws on the books. They want to talk about, oh, they didn't sign this bill, that bill we got to do. It's really not that difficult. I could actually get this solved in a couple days.
I think, Jim, the biggest threat to this bolstered support, which is, as you're seeing, actually helping lower the numbers of migrants crossing illegally into the U.S., comes at the shifting of policies. And that's policies on immigration matters that not only come at the federal level here in the U.S., but also at the states level. So Mexico gets increasingly frustrated when they see policies come out of states like Texas or Iowa. And for them, that adds domestic pressures that during an election year, not only in the U.S., but also in Mexico, could cause them to have to then redirect those efforts, so to speak, and move those resources elsewhere. So if they feel like it's just going to add more problems on the Mexico side of things, they'll quickly abandon this added effort and put those National Guards and Mexican military elsewhere.
Okay, well, it's gotten so bad that even CNN is down on the border reporting, and we all remember the clip of Jim Acosta. Oh, there's no commotion here.
And here are some of the steel slats that the president's been talking about right here. As you can see, yes, you can see through these slats to the other side of the U.S.-Mexico border. But as we're walking along here, we're not seeing any kind of imminent danger. There are no migrants trying to rush toward this fence.
Yeah, that's because a wall works. And then you got Circle Back Saki, Raggedy Ann saying, well, I live in Virginia and people are worried about immigration here. It's so silly.
If you look at some of these exit polls, I mean, I live in Virginia. Immigration was the number one issue. I mean, again, these could change in Virginia.
Well, Virginia does have a border with West Virginia. Very, very contested area.
Build the wall. Like, what?
And even as much as CNN here tries to sugarcoat it, it's obviously a very real problem. And this is the pretty version of it. Oh, cartel smugglers. But all the human trafficking, all the drugs, all the crime, they don't talk anything about that.